Welcome to The Explainer. So if you've been paying any attention to the business world lately, you know that AI isn't just some, futuristic sci-fi concept anymore. It's not a magic algorithm operating in the shadows. We are way past the era of pure hype. Today, I want you to completely reframe how you think about artificial intelligence. Seriously, stop thinking of it as just a piece of software. Start thinking of it as a brand new, highly capable digital colleague. And just like any brilliant but, let's be honest, incredibly literal new hire, you really need to learn exactly how to manage them if you want to get any actual work done.
Okay, let's look at the quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll cover the 2026 AI landscape. Second, agents versus assistants. Third, mastering AI conversations. Fourth, AI and daily workflows. And finally, number 5, the human advantage. All right, Section 1, the 2026 AI landscape, moving from buzzwords to active participants. Just a few short years ago, AI was this intimidating concept, right? Totally confined to research labs or complex IT departments. Today, well, it's smoothly transitioned into a daily productivity multiplier. To really put this rapid adoption into perspective, a staggering 62% of organizations are already actively experimenting with AI agents in their daily operations. 62%. That is massive. This isn't just a trend for big tech giants anymore. This is happening literally down the street at local hardware stores, in marketing agencies, inside healthcare facilities. And honestly, it creates a huge sense of urgency for us. If you aren't learning how to adapt and integrate these digital colleagues into your workflows today, you're already kind of falling behind the curve. Moving on to Section 2, Agents versus Assistants, understanding the roles of your new team members. Now, before we can actually manage our new team members, we have to understand exactly what roles they're playing. And the fundamental difference here boils down to autonomy. An AI agent is autonomous and goal-driven. You give it a destination, and it decides its own path to get there. It can literally iterate on its own approach if its first attempt completely fails. Pretty wild, right? On the flip side, an AI assistant is user-driven and interaction-first. It relies entirely on your direct, step-by-step guidance and your immediate feedback to actually finish a task. Let's ground this with some real-world examples. Think about Datablist's AI research agent. It acts like a background researcher. You can just tell it to, say, monitor competitor pricing every single week, and it will independently scrape the web, validate the data, and compile a neat report while you are literally sleeping. That's an agent. Conversely, look at the Notion AI assistant. This is more like your brilliant co-writer. It sits right there in the document with you, just waiting for your prompt to fix your grammar, or maybe change a paragraph's tone, or brainstorm some bullet points based on your immediate input. It works alongside you, not behind the scenes.
Section 3. Mastering AI conversations. Training your new digital intern.
To get the absolute best out of these tools, we have to completely change how we speak to them. And there's a quote that brilliantly illustrates this mindset shift. Stop treating AI like a vending machine. So many of us expect to just drop one coin, our initial prompt, into the machine and get a perfectly packaged, flawless result on the very first try. And when we don't, we get frustrated and we just give up. Instead, you really need to view your first prompt as merely the initial briefing. The real magic, that happens in the back and forth conversation that follows. So, here's your playbook for that conversation. These are 4 essential moves to refine your AI's output. First, refine the tone. Tell it to sound more neighborly or maybe more professional. Second, add or remove information. You need to act as the editor-in-chief of this living document. Third, change the format on the fly. Maybe turn that massive long email into a short, punchy bulleted list. But step 4, this is the absolute game changer. Ask it to explain its reasoning step by step before it gives you the final answer. This is known as the chain of thought technique. It literally forces the AI to show its work, think logically, and avoid making careless errors. I promise you, it drastically improves the quality of the output. And hey, you don't just have to type these conversations anymore. With tools like ChatGPT 4o's real-time voice feature, you essentially have a boardroom of experts sitting right in your pocket. Imagine running these scenarios out loud on your morning commute, holding a business roadmap meeting, role-playing a deep dive with your ideal customer persona, practicing your pitch to a brutal virtual investor, brainstorming product names, having a marketing ideation session, getting completely objective feedback on a landing page, mapping out customer journeys, or actually, scratch that, it can even act as a coach for a quick motivation meeting when you need it. But to make those conversations truly powerful, you've got to stop repeating yourself.
By utilizing features like custom instructions, you can essentially give your AI a permanent brain. Think of this as setting up a permanent employee file for your digital intern. You just tell it once about your target audience, your specific brand voice, and your core business goals, and it remembers that entire context across every single new chat window. It will absolutely save you hours of typing every week.
Okay, Section 4, AI in daily workflows, putting your digital colleague to work. So we've talked about the theory and the communication side of things, but how do we actually put this digital colleague to work in practical, day-to-day scenarios? Well, let's start with data, which historically required a specialized degree just to analyze effectively. Now we have AutoML. Let's break this jargon down real quick. AutoML simply refers to AI systems that take the tedious trial and error completely off your plate. They automatically clean your data, test out different analytical models in the background, and just highlight the most useful trends for you. You no longer have to wrestle with the data, you just get to interpret the results and make the big business decisions. And this extends into a complete toolkit approach across all of your daily workflows. In development, you've got tools like Cursor and GitHub Copilot writing code, generating tests, and handling super tedious paperwork like commit messages. Over in communication, Granola AI actually listens to your meetings and pulls out perfectly structured action items, while Spark AI drafts your professional emails in seconds. And for research, Perplexity is basically replacing traditional search engines by synthesizing complex answers with actual cited sources. And Raycast is pulling AI right into your everyday keyboard shortcuts. These highly specialized tools are taking tasks that used to consume hours of your week and literally shrinking them into mere minutes. Which brings us to Section 5, the human advantage, the irreplaceable core of the work. Now, with all of this incredible automation, you might be asking, so where do I fit into the picture? The crucial point you have to remember is this: AI is about acceleration, not creation. Artificial intelligence incredibly speeds up our ability to explore different options, draft documents, and crunch numbers. But it doesn't have real-world experience, it definitely does not have empathy, and it absolutely cannot replace human intuition and genuine expertise. Let's look at why your role as the human is actually more important than ever. First off, domain knowledge is absolutely crucial. AI suggestions are entirely useless if you don't have the baseline expertise to evaluate if they're actually good ideas in the first place. Second, human oversight remains essential for every single output, period. Third, AI can suggest paths, sure, but human judgment must drive the final business decisions. And finally, relentless fact-checking is the absolute only way to prevent AI hallucinations, careless errors, and embedded biases from ever reaching your customers. You are the director, you are the editor-in-chief. Your AI is only as good as the human leading it. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, and it leaves us with one highly practical question. How will you manage your new digital colleague tomorrow morning? You've got the roadmap now, you understand the difference between agents and assistants, and you have the conversational frameworks to actually guide them. It is time to start delegating that busy work so you can finally get back to the brilliant, creative, deeply human work that you do best. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and hey, happy delegating.